Breaking down Super Tuesday now. Blocks of voters pushing hard in different directions. Boy, that's for sure. Let's go through some of the numbers now. David Brody is a senior national correspondent with the Christian Broadcasting Network. Miguel Perez, a syndicated columnist. They are in New York for us this morning. And Jamu Green, the former president of Rock the Vote. She is in Washington. Welcome to all of you. We've spoken with a couple of you yesterday before we got the results in. So we want to begin it with David one more time here. David, let's look at two of the exit polls from yesterday, if we could. Pointing out conservatives and Southern conservatives. We see Mitt Romney getting the conservative vote there with 42% over John McCain's 31%. And then to the Southern Republicans, we see Huckabee getting 41% over Romney's 28 and McCain's 26. Yesterday, you said Huckabee would do very well in the South. Does any other part of these exit polls really seem to surprise you?
Not really. Huckabee did do well, but, you know, the important issue here, Heidi, is that look at those numbers, that 41, 28, 26. I mean, John McCain and Mitt Romney are not in the single digits. I mean, this is not a runaway for Mike Huckabee. And what's interesting here is John McCain is tapping into this patriotism that plays very well in the South. South Carolina is a great example of that. That is part of the reason why he won down in South Carolina. Not just military, but patriotism, national security, evangelicals, that Southern roots down there. They really tap into that, and the McCain folks know it. And so McCain is in the ballpark here. And the other point to point out here, Heidi, is that evangelicals, you know, Mike Huckabee has kind of been pigeonholed as the evangelical candidate, but if you look at some of his numbers, I mean, to win 5 states, almost winning in Missouri, I mean, he's a guy that is not just appealing to evangelicals. I've been on the campaign trail a year, and I can tell you that when people leave the room and they hear him speak, they believe that they will not only vote for him, but Ed Rollins told me, his senior campaign manager, Ed Rollins told me, listen, if we had another week in New Hampshire, they would have won that thing. They believe Mike Huckabee resonates.
Wow. All right. Well, interesting. All right. I want to take a moment now to look at some of these other exit polls. Miguel, for you, a lot of talk this morning about the Latino vote, of course, and the fact that it is key to Hillary Clinton's big state win. So let's go ahead and break that down a bit. Look at here. This is Latino voters for Clinton and Obama, 61%, in fact, for Clinton. Then when we look at California in specific, Clinton 69%, Obama 29. Were you surprised by the strength of Latino support for Hillary Clinton?
I was not surprised, frankly, because the Latino elected officials throughout the country have been on Hillary's bandwagon since the beginning. Senator Obama, unfortunately, has been trying to catch up with the Hispanic vote. There needed to be some coalition building between the African American and the Hispanic community that was not done. And in the case of the Clintons, of course, they're running us almost as incumbents. It's very hard to defeat the Democratic machine. Especially the Latino Democratic machine all over the country is very, very much entrenched with the Clintons already.
Why is that, though? What is that relationship all about?
Well, you know, Clinton was a good president. Bill Clinton was a good president for the Hispanic community overall. There are some segments, of course, of the Hispanic community that are, of course, not happy with the Clintons, the Cuban American community in Florida, for example. But, you know, most Latinos are Democrats. The overwhelming majority of Latinos vote Democratic. What Republicans try to do every 4 years is basically get as big a chunk as they possibly can of the Latino vote so they can split that vote, because they never expect to get the majority of the Hispanic vote. If they can split the Hispanic vote, that huge voting bloc that we represent, especially in the general election, where Latinos are stronger because we live in the states where, you know, large states with large electoral college votes.
Right.
And we can swing those states. We can actually swing the general election. So, you know, there's a lot yet to come. And, you know, in the case of Mr. McCain, of course, we want him to keep going because he gives us leverage. You know, the Democrats know that they could have taken Latinos for granted and assumed that Latinos were going to vote for them if it had been anybody but McCain, because the other ones have been pounding the immigration issue, and they are seen in the Hispanic community as anti-Hispanic. Not the case with McCain. So McCain gives Latinos leverage. We can now go to the Democrats and say, listen, we still have a viable alternative in the Republicans.
Right. Well, it is certainly a very interesting demographic. I know we'll be talking a lot more about it as we move closer and closer every day to November. Jamu, I want to get to you, obviously, the youth vote. As as we expected, it would go to Barack Obama, and as you predicted yesterday, of course. Here's a snapshot quickly. One state where Obama did win, Georgia. Look at this now. By age here, 18 to 29, 75%, 30 to 44, 73%, and as you can see those other numbers there. He did a great job with young voters. So what happened in places like California? Was it more of a question of turnout there?
Well, I think absolutely. The story coming out of yesterday is the overwhelming turnout from young voters. It's interesting that the people at Rock the Vote rung the bell at NASDAQ to open up the stock market yesterday, and young people across the country heard that as a call to arms. We're seeing turnout triple in some of these states that the numbers are in: Georgia, Missouri, Massachusetts. Tripling. In Tennessee, turnout quadrupled. We still have to look to see how turnout affected the California race, but absolutely Barack Obama is winning the lion's share of these voters. But the Clinton campaign is not giving up on these voters. They're going to continue to compete for them. That's why we've seen Chelsea on the road more, doing a college tour. And I think it's really going to come down to both of these candidates duking it out for these voters. But I'll tell you, every college campus I have been on in the past few weeks, young people are definitely on the Obama bandwagon, and they're the ones really driving, the energy and the enthusiasm for his race.
The young vote, the Latino vote, and the conservatives, where they will go. Certainly very interesting discussion. To the three of you, we appreciate your time. Jammu Green, Miguel Perez, and David Brody. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, Heidi.